Before we begin your outline, I wanted to just go over some work that I did. I guess you would call it pre-writing before I jumped over to Noodle Tools and made my outline. Now this is for my eyes only. Okay. So whatever you do, I don't even care if it's on Gmail. I'm sorry, Google. I won't see it, but I will see it when you convert it over to Noodle Tools. I just found it helpful to already have a structure and maybe take a picture of it before I go over to Noodle Tools. But you're going to have to make an outline. Now, I'm not finished with my research, and I already see some things I want to change. But if you'll notice, I have 6 Roman numerals. That means I will have 6 paragraphs in my essay. So let's go back and see what that's all about. So the paragraph 1 will be our introduction, and you'll start out, we'll talk about an important, very eye-catching lead. I'm sure that y'all talked about that in high school, but you want to come up with something that will pull your reader in and not put them to sleep. Y'all know you'll go to sleep during my class if you can. So maybe I need to spice up my lead. I don't know. But anyway, you have to do that. Now, this is what I also did. I think that the introduction is a great place to explain what you're doing. And genetic editing, I think, is part of genetic therapy, but I'm not going to get into that. Genetic therapy, I've found from my research, is more in the area of treating people who have already been born, injecting stem cells into elderly people who have Alzheimer's, or a 30-year-old who has Alzheimer's. That's a different area. We're talking about the unborn. We're talking about embryos here. So keep that in mind. I've narrowed it down to that. And you'll see from my sources that some of we're still they're still working on it. So it'll go back to 2017, where United States and China, I think China beat us, where they successfully altered the genes of twin girls. And I believe that is one of the articles I already have there, but I digress. Let me get back. So I need to explain to you what genetic editing is. And the funny part is, it's like taking a piece or a pair of scissors and cutting out the bad genes. Well, what happens in a surgery when you excise a tumor, even if it's it's a benign tumor, then the body has to heal itself back up after you take it out. So that's the process we're talking about here. So in really 3 sentences at the most, I'm going to have to explain to my reader what that is, because I didn't know. You want to make it as short as you can. And let me just say, you may have to write B and C over and over and over again. It could be 6 sentences, but you need to pare it down to 2, 3 at the maximum, but I would say 2. Then you have your thesis statement, which you should be able to copy and paste from Noodle Tools. Now, let's go to see what my rationale is. And I know I don't have the thesis here, but I can remember it, and you'll see it on Noodle Tools. It's about if carrier couples, if a couple, one of them is a carrier for a deadly disease, should they have the option to use genetic editing? And what I did on that is I actually went into 3 of the most common, if you want to call them common, childhood illnesses that they got because the parent either had it or the parent was a carrier. So I wanted to bring attention to those. So how could I tell a couple, no, we can't do this? So I wanted to calculate in a child's lifetime, if he, let's say, lives to be 45, let's calculate the cost financially. Don't we all talk dollars and cents, even in Medicare? I mean, medical realms, but yeah, Medicare. But then I wanted to do the human cost also because there is so much suffering that goes on. I used to work at Children's Medical, and you knew what floor you were on where you could hear slapping and beating sounds. It was the cystic fibrosis one because the therapists were cupping their hands and hitting the patients on the chest to loosen up the mucus because it is a horrible disease. You drown in your own body fluids. So I would think that the whole just physical costs would be horrible. I also have a patient in mind that actually was one of my fifth grade girls at church. And we had taken our classes, all the people on that floor took our classes out to sit on the floor in the hall and listen to someone read a book to them. Well, this one little girl wouldn't sit down, and I knew she had to be uncomfortable. And I said, "Hey, why are you not sitting down?" She says, "Oh, I don't want to." Well, the story kept going on and on and on. And I said, "Diana, please sit down." She didn't want to. So the third time, I think it was, she asked me if I would go into one of the classrooms with her, and I did. And she said, "I can't sit down because I have a pump near my stomach, and because I have sickle cell anemia, and I can't sit because there's a needle going into my body, and just the way it is, I just can't sit and get back up without it coming undone." And later she explained to me that if you have sickle cell anemia, you do have to have transfusions, just like a hemophiliac, because in a sickle cell anemia person, iron builds up in their system, and that could cause a heart attack and all kinds of things. And so the pump is to take out all of the iron, the surplus iron. And she now, I think she has lived, she's in her 50s now, which is almost unheard of. But every time, like every other week, I'll see her, she's back in the hospital. She's having complications. And I think of all of the horrible things that she's gone through her in her life, and she smiles. But she never would have had a child probably. But what if she could have a child who did not have that marker, who had that marker removed and could live a normal life without sickle cell? I get chills thinking about it. I think of St. Jude's Hospital. I think of all of these people, even leukemia, any kind, there are cancers that they can isolate. Wouldn't you want, if you really wanted to have a child, some people don't, but if you really did, like I would, it would be worth looking into, I must say. So anyway, that's why I was saying genetic. I'm thinking that could be physical and mental, but what I might do is financial. Um, and just move some of this up here. So I might, but you know what? I might take some of it out. Financial. Okay. Certainly something I want you to be thinking in your mind. If you and your spouse wanted to go, you wanted to have a baby, and one of you was a carrier of hemophilia, it would probably be the woman. Would you want to look into genetic editing so your little boys would not have to worry about being bruised on the football field? Well, actually, they'd be able to play football. Normally, you can't play contact sports if you have hemophilia, because if you get bumped by somebody, you could bleed to death by the time they get you to the hospital. It's a very serious disease. But I want you to be thinking in your mind, that really sounds good. I wonder how much it costs. So kind of have that in the back of your mind. All right. So I went and talked about lifetime, because to an insurance company, they want to know how much they would pay out approximately in a person's 45-year lifespan before they died. Okay, then compare that with the genetic editing. So anyway, it's such an exciting. I hope that you're excited about what you are looking at, what you're finding out more about. I'm just so excited about it. I want to go back to it every day, several times a day. I don't have time to do that, but I would love to do it. So I was going to show how sickle cell affects people physically, okay, and mentally. I just think Diana has to go through a lot of depression. Well, doesn't have to, but she does. Yeah. But she's never once asked why me. She's a hero. Okay, so let's go to hemophilia. So I'm going to talk about in a lifetime of a hemophiliac. One thing I want to find out is what's the longest they're expected to live. That might be a median statistic thing, but what's the longest anybody's lived? Then the next one is cystic fibrosis. You might be a carrier of that. Do you want your child? Oh, actually, I should have had a B. I should have gone back here, because for every A, you have to have a B. For every one, you have to have a two. Okay, I'm bad. Okay, so what cutting can do, and maybe I need to, well, I don't want to do that. I'll put something there. For every a B. Every Roman numeral 1, you have to have a 2. Okay, then we're going to conclusion. We're going to say the thesis in different ways, and then I'm going to slowly roll out the reasoning why couples have to have access to that if they choose. Some people believe you don't go and alter what God has done or what the supreme being has done. So again, it's personal decision. Okay, and then as you'll find out when you see the price tag on it, we need to push for more affordable procedures, more affordable genetic editing that we can all afford, or at least let the insurance pay it. Okay, so again, I'm just thinking as a business person that I would have to see a business case for it. And part of the business case is, okay, it costs 500,000 to do genetic editing. And the kid's 45, let's say the kid lives until 30 with whatever disease it is. I've got to weigh what that is against the genetic engineering. I do want to, or genetic editing. That means you're editing, you're taking out, like, well, it's just like editing a paper. You take something out. Okay, do you need to put something back in to make it work, or is it fine without that? Do you have to modify nearby words to go with that? So, yeah, the thing is, it's more than 500,000, but I'm just going to say right now, when you weigh that, you come back and say, okay, this person, the median age is 30. That's when most of them on a chart will die. Okay, we're not accounting for the people above that, or yeah, just above that, because there would be much fewer numbers up there. So let's just say in a person's lifetime, with medical expenses, because they don't care about mental, the insurance don't. We've learned that with psychiatric care. Let's just say that the person spent $2 million in his lifetime, the 30-year-old. We're talking about medical supplies, we're talking about hospitalizations, we're talking about procedures, which would include surgeries and things like that. And I'm sure you can think of other ones. Okay, so if we see that that's $2 million, and if their parents would have been able to have their embryo genetically edited to remove whatever bad gene that was, which would be better, the genetic editing or letting the person live out his or her life, but dying way short of the life expectancy for a person that age? So you have to weigh that. If you can approach it that way with an insurance company, you're still going to lose probably. But of course, the main thing is, and what I will address is that we need to bring those costs down, even if they're covered by insurance, because that needs to be available to anybody who wants it. If they don't want it, they don't do it. Okay. So I have got my outline and I'm going to stop. I'm sorry, losing my voice again. I'm going to stop the video for just a second and I'll catch up with you over in Noodle Tools. Voila, here I am. Okay, so these are all of my projects. So I went ahead and I started genetic editing. Now, make sure that you have gone over here and put in your class code, which for my 11 o'clock class, I believe it's HOLL 22014. If you're my 12 o'clock class, or 12:30, I'm sorry, then you need to put HOLL 22019. So right now, or well, I don't have time for you to do it right now, but I want you to go back. Let me go back to the page that has all, you should have one other project, I think, on there, but go under sharing, click on that, share with the teachers box, put in that HOLL and then whatever the name, whatever the number is, the section number of your class. Now notice, I don't have any note cards yet. I'm still in the preliminary stages, but I do have 3 sources. Okay, I could just tell. You can just tell by looking at that. Okay, so I'm going to click on sources. So now I'm on my source page, and you notice that this is the only one that I actually got one I could copy and paste. I had to do these manually here. And one of the reasons I want to tell you, because not all of them came from our database, I need to go back and search a couple of more places, but this is such new technology, even 7, 8 years ago, that's so new. You're going to have to rely on periodicals or magazines to um, help you understand what's going on. I mean, I'm having to find sources that I can read so I can say to you in simplistic terms, which is what I need, what this genetic cutting is. Okay, that is the editing. All right, so I'm going to go here, but now that I have my sources, let me look here for just a second. I'm going to go see if I can see my tabletop view. Okay, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to say outline. Actually, I don't have one yet. I just want to make one. Okay. So what I did again, let me go back. Okay, so I clicked on sources. Okay, now I'm going to go down here. I think I can do whatever I want to here. I'm just going to go outline, click my outline. Okay, Remember, I already did that. So I want to use, you see, I try reducing your screen. You can reduce it further, but I usually put mine on the right side here because it's easier for me, I guess, because I'm right-handed. Okay, so I'm gonna go like that, and I need to share a split screen. Now I could make these either bigger or smaller, but actually I'm going to try doing this a different way than I've done before. Okay, so this is way, there we go. All right. So if you go to this bar down here, it'll get you where you want. Okay, so I have 6 Roman numerals, and that's all I will put right now because you know what? I'm not really sure about physical, mental. I think I'm going to restate that, but for right now, go at least and know what your Roman numerals are going to be. Um, so it gives you a parent and it gives you a child. If I want to add a Roman numeral 2, I would go to sibling because it has to be the same value. It has to be worth more. It's got to be another Roman numeral. All right. If I go to A and I want a sibling, then if I want a B, I'm going to have to choose a sibling. But remember, for every Roman numeral 1, you have to have a Roman numeral 2. You're not going to have a problem with that on here. But for every sibling, an A, you got to have a B sibling. So remember, for every 1, there's a 2. Every A, there's a B. So you say to me, well, I only have an A on it. Well, can you possibly divide that into an A and B? No, I can't do that. Okay, can you maybe go back to where you got that information and see if maybe you've got a B? If you don't, then what you might want to do is go back up to the Roman numeral, put a hyphen, put topic space, hyphen space, and then write what you were going to write on A. Because if you don't have a B, you can't have an A. All right. So let's get back to this. There are several ways that you can do this. So if you click on topic, it won't do anything here, but eventually it will. We're going to go to, see if I can move that over just a bit. Okay. So wait, what was that? Wait. Okay. Did I just draw something I shouldn't have drawn? Okay. Move that bar. I don't want to because I haven't seen it. Let's do this. Okay. So we won't pay attention to this right now. Let's go to topic. Okay, so let me just say I'm going to put, I hope I don't have to do this every single time, but let me go back over here. All right. I want to put, no, I don't know why it's not letting me do this. Let me go back. Let me figure out what's going on here. Okay, I'll go back and show you my research question and all of that, but this is kind of going to be give me a little bit of difficulty. So I'm switching back to a full screen on Noodle Tools only. So I am going to put introduction. And then I'm going to go to the plus side and I'm plus sign. And I think I'm going to put a couple, I'm sorry. No, that was the wrong one. Okay, so introduction. Yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to put a sibling and I'm going to put first supporting point. Okay, so then I'm going to put a sibling in with that one. And I'm going to say second supporting point. I'll go and clean it up in a minute. Now, this is the next thing that you got to watch for. You've got to put a counter argument. So I'm going to put another sibling. Okay, this is my counter argument. In the case of the genetic editing, I'm going to put the risks. Now, I'm trying to think if you're putting, trying to think of what somebody just did. Oh my, only one person has even done one of these, so I don't have a lot to choose from. But if you're doing gun control or you're doing, actually, I have talked to a second person. This person is talking about cell phones in schools. So the counter argument, I guess you could say risks, because does it risk you getting thrown out of a classroom? Does it risk you not learning something that you should be learning in the classroom? That's one of the biggest ones. These are, so for right now, I'm going to leave mine or put mine at risk because it is a medical thing. Okay, then one more sibling. Well, actually two. I'm gonna go add a topic. I can right click and do that. So then this is the one that's really important. Third and most important main point. Okay, so then one more sibling. At some point, you can actually hit return, but don't do that. Okay. Third and most important. And I'm kind of teeter-tottering there between, let's see, I'm going to put another sibling. Okay, this will be my conclusion. This is the deal. You can always go back and you can delete. See the trash bin there? Okay, I'm going to say yes. Okay, now all I have is my 6 paragraphs. But what I was going to tell you, if I go back over here, I'm going to click on this. Remember, you can get back to your research question and your thesis before you do this. Now, one person, well, actually, I've been asked this several times. I've had students ask me if they could change their thesis as they're going on. And if you haven't learned this term, you need to learn it. It's a living document that you're working on. And sometimes things operate better if we modify it. It's just kind of like the genes. Um, absolutely. My question, I mean, my answer to that is absolutely you can change it. It's a living document. And you know what? You have just demonstrated to me something that I just had to know, that you're actually researching. Unfortunately, some kids look at this as a grade, and I do understand. And a lot of y'all are trying to get into universities, and I understand making the great grades. But if you could learn to research as a lifelong goal of yourself, I look at it this way. It doesn't matter if you have a degree or not, okay? If you have a certificate that shows you've been educated, because you can be educated and not educate yourself. Your learning does not stop here. It doesn't stop in my class. It doesn't stop in your government class. It doesn't stop in your chemistry class. Should always make yourself curious if you're not, and look things up on your own. So this is a skill. I'm almost 70 years old and I have to research things before I open my big fat mouth and tell people what I think. And sometimes I don't. and I always pay the price. Okay. Yes, I've known for my sidebars. That's okay. All right. I that was just important to me. So my answer to your question, of course, you can change your hypothesis, I mean your thesis. Um, you ought to see, and I'll show you in class the evolution that my thesis went through. But I came up with this one. If prospective parents wish to have a baby, should genetic editing be an affordable option if they are carriers of deadly diseases such as hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, or cystic fibrosis? Then this is my thesis. Notice that I have should, da, 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 as Medea would say, should, da, da, um, in it. So both sentences have it. Now this one's turning it around into just a declarative. This is interrogative question. This is declarative. If one or both prospective parents are carriers for a deadly disease such as hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, or cystic fibrosis, comma, genetic editing should be an affordable option for them. Okay, so now if I go down here, well, no, actually I have to go back up here and pull up my outline. Okay, then I've got this over here. Now, as you are going to your cards, I don't have any, so I can't show you anything. But this is how you might want to label them, and I kind of would be careful with this too. Let me go back to my outline. Okay, you're going to have the option to drag your cards will be about here. You can drag them and put them under this. Well, problem is they're not going to be A, they're not going to be B, they're not going to be C, they're not going to be D. So, and what happens if you get in there and decide that you want A to be where G is and G to be where D is? You know what you do? You simply change the title of the card. Now, that's just an option, which means if you think of it, you're going to have 6 tiles. Let me see, because I don't think it's going to let me. It's not. Okay. Let me show you. So, what you in essence would have, and one source can actually. Okay, we're playing like I'm in Noodle Tools. Okay. So I'm going to put a text box in. And I hope right now, because I want to show this in class, I hope that you're not typing. Well, I hope you're taking notes, but you can always go back over this. Okay, I want to insert a text box. So I'm going to do that. Text box. Oh, there. Okay. I don't know how big I should make them. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and type this. So remember, you're going to have to make a card and then right click, go to the bottom, or I don't know if it's left or right, and name your pile. But I'm going to say introduction. Okay. And I just go ahead and make one. I'm all for shortcuts. Hopefully you are too, but not on the quality of your work. Okay, I know I need 6, so I'm going to go copy. That was already on. All I'll have to do is change the titles. Okay. Now, since again, this is kind of for my eyes only, I'm going to make, yeah, that go over here. So let's go over here. Let's go over here. Let's go over here. Oh, I think I need to make one more. Okay, and let's go here. Okay, put this dude up here. Okay, and then come up with one more. Now, and again, these are your piles. And I'll put that on here. Okay, so you've got an introduction, you've got first main point. Well, I'm gonna say, what was mine? Sickle cell hemophilia. Okay. See, I already know I'm gonna change that up. Oh, here's a picture of my house. You want to see it? I want to plant a tree, so I was showing somebody where I want it planted. Like, oh, I had a little red circle there. This must be another thing. Let me get out of here. Save. Okay, let's see. Come on by and say hi sometime, y'all. Now that you know what my house looks like and it's in Carrollton. Um, okay. I think mine was hemophilia. Okay, so what I'm going to do, no, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put hemophilia. I'm going to put cystic fibrosis. I think I had sickle cell. And I might start out with that because that actually does hold a lot of meaning to me because I had to be educated back in my 20s on that. Okay, sickle cell. Let's see, cystic fibrosis. Uh, let's see, cystic fibrosis and spelled that right. So, okay, I guess I got it. Wait. Introduction, cystic fibrosis, counter argument. And introduction, hemophilia, sickle cell. Okay, I'm gonna switch that. I should have my counter argument there. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to you know what? I don't care if they're centered or not, it doesn't matter. But the cards under this one, under let's just say sickle cell, or you could do whatever. Okay, let's say that the first card that you made, here we go, was for sickle cell. And let's just say, I'm trying to get this. No, let's say cystic. Ah! Okay. What I'm trying to do is move this baby. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to just put here, let's just say I did a card on cystic fibrosis. Okay, I'm gonna put that there, cystic. Okay, and so I'm not gonna show you what I wrote there because you know what? I don't know. I haven't done it. What I might do is just put cystic fibrosis, maybe in lowercase letters. I don't know. Just and by the way, you can color code those too. We can go over that with you tomorrow. So you could make all the cystic fibrosis blue. That'll help you. Fibrosis. And let's just say you say A. I put it there so it's really easy for you to organize it. Now, if you go back later, so again, this would go under this card. So let me do this. It's not going to let me. Hold on. Okay. So my cystic fibrosis A will go in this pile. Got it? Okay, so you can color code them, do whatever you want to do. But this is the cool part. When you have your outline over here, you're not going to use this one, but I would put that under cystic fibrosis. Now, if you know that that's going to be, I would label it. I really would. I'd put Roman numeral 1 size and then cystic fibrosis. And if you want to, you could just put A there. Okay, there you go. We know that's your Roman numeral 1. So you'll remember when you get over here and it says number 1, where I had first supporting point, you need to put cystic fibrosis. Okay, and then you put that in the spot that would be A. Okay. I'd leave that on it, but you don't have to manually put in an A. You just leave in the Roman numerals and then slide these cards, rearrange them, do whatever you need to do. All right, so I think that's about it. And you just need to make sure that all of that is on your Noodle tools, which I probably minimized. Let me get that. Okay. So that's how you do it. And if I have outlined here, let me see if I can bring it up here. No. Oh, yeah, I can. Look. Okay, no, it won't let me. See the cards? It should let you slide those over, but I don't have any cards to slide. So that cystic fibrosis one, oh, actually, that's Roman numeral 2. Shame on me. I would say cystic. I don't know if it's fibrosis. I don't know what it is. I'm just wanting you to watch. Okay. Cystic fibrosis. Okay. So I find it should be Roman numeral 2. Roman numeral 1, any of that is the introduction. So the cystic fibrosis, I have the 2A right here. I'm going to slide it right under this. Okay. I think you could actually click on cystic fibrosis and it'll put it under there for you. And then you could always rearrange it if you need to have it rearranged. Okay? But go back and relabel these. And we'll talk more about the introduction later. I want you to work on 2, 3, 4, and 5. Though that is the bulk. That is like if this were a hamburger and this is the top hat and this is the bottom hat, there's not much there. Bread. Some people eat theirs with lettuce now. They don't even use bread. But this part in here, ooh, that's all the good stuff, including the meat or the tofu or the turkey that goes in the middle. And this is what we're going to be working on this week. And when we're at spring break, you're still going to have to work on it because you have to turn it in the next week after that. And then we start our final project. Okay. So obviously what you have just seen proves that you have got to get your work done. I should see everybody with a brand new project. You need to have 2 here and 2 here by tonight. I only see one person. There is a second person who just has not posted that person yet. That's sad because I'm talking about a total of about 25 people in both classes. So this is not something that you can rush and do in an hour because it will show and you will get nowhere near the 200 points. Do not wait until the last minute. I will not accept your paper. No late entries unless you have made arrangements with me before, and then we'll talk. I only know one person in both of my classes who I will work on that together. Okay, any questions at all? Email me. Do you need to go back over this again before Thursday and shoot me some questions? Go right ahead. But this week, you should have at least 5 sources. And I haven't determined whether or not I want you to have 10 cards. I think that that's reasonable because in the end, you have to have 26 to 30 cards. And I'll give you that information. So I may ask you to have 15 cards. Now, mind you, those would be from your paragraph 2, 3, 4, and 5, would not include your introduction and conclusion. So do the math. If you have 4 categories, you have 4 different piles that you're working on, and I tell you to have 20, that would be what? Anyone? Anyone? 5 cards apiece. That's what I think I'm going to do. Okay. But you'll see it on the homework. So come to class. Well, it's too late now. You need to have this project done. We don't have time to wait for you. Okay. So if you didn't do it, you need to pay attention. You're going to get a 0 on it. But in fact, I'm going to start entering those in the morning before I come to class. Okay. All righty.